Rule 6.
Ooh.
Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world.
Ugh, a lot of people see my face, but I'm making this face not for the reason that you think I'm making this face. But this is a good rule. I definitely recommend that if you're gonna get through this rule and start reading it, that you finish it before you stop. Don't start reading this rule halfway through before bed and then try to go to sleep.
No.
That doesn't me at all. It took a dark turn for me. At this point when I'm reading the book, it kind of took a dark turn and like set me back a few weeks, just mentally. I mean, I didn't go off the far end or anything, but you could definitely feel my energy levels were down when I hit this part of the book because I didn't complete this part. I think I read it before I went to sleep or something of that nature, and then I didn't finish the chapter for like a couple of days, and it just kind of like dragged me in. But anyway, enough of that, Beth. Just a disclaimer.
This chapter and the next chapter get real kind of heavy and deep, and that's a good preface to this because you can find yourself in a weird headspace if you're not ready and prepared for it.
Well, I mean, just if you get through the chapter, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you're good.
Just don't start reading it and then stop. For no reason.
The conclusion kind of closes things up for you, closes that loop up a little.
It's one of those things that for me, I just took it out of context.
Yeah.
Right. Because I didn't get all of the context behind the rule. So
you don't want to leave. Yeah, don't want to leave that open loop.
Because I mean, just briefly, I don't want to get too far into it, but briefly in the chapter, he does talk about unfortunate events that have happened recently in history. About mass murders that end in suicide and those kinds of things. So just, take that part with a grain of salt, get through it, and he does sum it up and do a really good job in the end.
Yeah, he does very well.
But I like the part where he's talking about that play Faust or whatever.
Yeah.
The German
play,
Like he makes a pact with the devil. And like, I thought this was funny because like, I know somebody that has his last name. And I'm like,
Are they related?
Are they related? Is this who the play is about? But anyway.
This is your great grandfather?
I don't know, man. Maybe. You
gotta ask. Come on.
But anyway, so Faust, right? German play. The main character makes a pact with the devil, right? And he says, "You can have my soul. In return, I want everything in this life on the earth that I can have while I'm alive." Like. That's some interesting stuff, dude. Like, imagine the power to like have anything while you're alive, anything at all. Like,
anything and everything.
That's crazy, dude. You know what I mean? I'm thirsty right now. What do I want? Oh, yeah, I want some of this. I want some of that. You know what I mean?
$1 million.
Let me get my private jet down here. You know what I mean? In fact, I want to fly in my helicopter to get to the airport. Like,
right.
That's crazy.
Let me get my helicopter to get on my plane. To fly my space shuttle to go to the moon.
But at that point, like, and maybe this kind of leads into what the next rule is, rule 7. But like in doing so, like you're giving up your soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to get these possessions that you need. And that's not always necessarily, I don't know if that's a good trade or not. I think we can argue that all day.
Yeah, we can play. We have a whole episode on that.
Can argue that, but at the same time, it's just an interesting thought. Like, that was cool.
It is, and it's like it's funny because it's just stuff. It's just things, Like I wonder, I bet after a while, like I say within a few years, you just be bored out of your freaking mind.
Oh, you mean of getting everything you want?
Yeah. You just gotta be just unfulfilling as can be.
Right. I mean, because eventually there's only so many things in the world, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know how long this could last, but I mean, yeah. If you could have anything, you have it. Now what?
Yeah.
I mean, Lamborghini. Okay, I got my Lamborghini. After that, okay. Now I want a Ferrari. Okay.
Yeah.
I got that. After a while, it's like, okay.
Yeah. What?
I've driven every car that I could possibly drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have the biggest house there is.
I've been to every place that I could go to. I don't know.
and you don't even earn any of it. That, to me, it's that's all, a lot of the fun of it is the journey. You know, it's not about the destination. You know, it's about the journey.
But you know, again, that kind of brings back the whole thing in this book, right? Order and chaos, right? Finding meaning. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people get caught up in that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you just want the thing for the meaning. Like, you know, you don't care what you're doing. You don't care the fact that you're giving up your soul to get this stuff, right?
Yeah, we're not thinking about that long-term concept.
I don't think about the fact that I'm giving up my soul. I just want.
Yeah, especially like, oh, I'm dead anyway. What does it matter?
Yeah, you know. But that kind of strives to it, though. It's like, you know, one of the quotes he has in here in this chapter is like, we all contain wisdom that we cannot comprehend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, even though you're under, you know, you have all these things, like, you know that giving up your soul is wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny that we have all these things, all these religions out there, and all these things, etiquettes and proper things, but as a child, we kind of know that. You know what I mean? You know, like, from the time that you're a little child, you can, you know, I'm not talking about like when you're conceived, but when you can actually focus, right, and concentrate and have some kind of correlation. You know what I mean? When a child sees something that they don't like, right, they cry, right, they're scared. They, you know what I mean? Like, they know right, they know wrong instinctively, right? They smile, they love when they see people helping each other. Like, you ever watch a child when something good is happening? Like, it's crazy.
Oh, they light up. And even those like little spontaneous moments where kids just come over and they bring you a little something, or they pick a flower or whatever.
I can't remember the experiment, but I think they put like a 2-year-old down or something, and then they showed them a video of kids like helping each other, like babies helping each other, and like the kids are smiling, and then they showed them the video of like where one child like stole this other kid's toy and like took it for themselves, and like they're just like watching the reactions on the kid's face. Like, the video that they're helping each other, babies all smiles, and then like when they see the one kid steal from the other, they're like, you know, you see the expression on their face. It's kind of strange. At such a young age, like, we know instinctively. I mean, I believe people are very complex, but deep down in the core, things are simple.
Yeah. It can be broken down, at least the simplest forms. Yes.
I mean, but, you know, I don't know whether you want to call it, right, your conscience, right? Like, that's all. Like
that gut feeling, man. We all know.
Right.
It's when we get older and we're capable of more complex thought, and you know, if we're led down, you know, one path or another, or if we start to, you know, feel some type of way about something, and it's like you start to say, well, are this risk worth it? Or can I get away with this? And can I get away with that? And, you know, it kind of ties back to the other rules.
But that's kind of like where it comes down to, right? Like, setting your house in order before you start criticizing other people. Like, yeah, we're as adults, like, we go to college, right? We went to school, we go to a job, like, we learn a profession, like, we know all these things about life and all of these things. But when it comes down to the core being, you know what good and bad is. You know what good and evil is.
Yes.
We all have an inherent ability somehow to know things. Yes, we're complex beings, but we're also simple beings at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I know Jocko Willing talks about that, the Navy SEAL commander. He says something along the lines of, you know, like, I guess people ask him a lot, like, oh, well, how do you know when, like, you shouldn't be doing this? Like, if you have that thought, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. I mean, well, when you talk about Navy SEALs,
that's a simple answer.
But when you talk about Navy SEALs, though, they get into situations where all your training goes out the door.
Right. Oh,
like,
yeah.
They put in high stress situations where instinct is the only thing you got.
Yes.
And at that point, you definitely know right or wrong.
You do. You absolutely know what you're doing.
Yeah. But I mean, that just comes down to the whole pact of, like, you know, how people watch things happen. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys seen on the news, like, I was watching one news on the other day, like, at the time the volcanoes are erupting. They're still erupting at this point, right? They have all these fissures coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
And there was one resident that was living there that was chasing people out with a gun. Like, he fired a gun over somebody's head to, like,
wow.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he had the right intention, right? Of
You're trying to protect them from getting in the lava?
yeah, you
Oh,
know, like that was his intent, but he's going about it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And then it's funny because you see the live video, like somebody's just watching that happen. Like there's like, look here's a video. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
That's the shit I hate too. Like, we gotta be good human beings, man, to each other. Like, we gotta be good neighbors. I hate that shit. People are standing there like,
well,
look at her getting raped. This is horrible. What are you doing about it?
well, in that situation, when a guy's holding a gun, I mean, I don't know. Not everybody has the ability to like run up and stop that guy. You're putting your life in danger, you know. But you're right. You definitely. I think there was a movie, right? Like Clint Eastwood was the director of that movie. Was it 1517 to Paris?
Right. Yeah. The true story, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a true story.
Yeah.
Like those aren't actors; those are the actual guys in the movie.
Oh wow!
Yeah, those are the guys in the movie.
I haven't seen it. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. But like in that situation, you're right. Like those three individuals, I think 4 individuals, like they took matters into their own hands, right? They knew what was right.
Yeah.
In the face of adversity, the guy came out of the bathroom and he had like a freaking backpack full of magazines and a loaded AK-47, and they literally just went up to him and stopped him from committing error. Like that was crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's like the end of the movie, but like the movie is about like these kids growing up and what they went through and you know, part of their trip and stuff. But yeah, like people that sit there and watch things happen, like you can actually do something about it. I'm not saying you have to go in front of a loaded gun, maybe, but if somebody's, you know, being robbed or somebody's like, say something, go out, yell, make a noise, like call the police, like
something, render aid. I mean, what happened to these things that, I mean, I can't drive by and see something. I can't walk by and see something and not at least do the minimum thing of calling for help, stopping to render aid. Like it just doesn't even bog my mind. Like this story, was it I don't know what, a couple of months or something ago, these guys went to the Starbucks and then they kicked them out because they wouldn't buy anything. Oh, everybody in there was outraged.
I did see that. Yeah.
Everybody was outraged. Not one of you motherfuckers said, you guys thirsty? Let me get you something. You guys can stay. I'll buy you something.
Oh,
$3,
that's true.
$5. Solve the problem right off the bat. Nope. Look at these guys. They're getting kicked out of Starbucks for not buying anything. Put your fucking phone down. Buy them something. Problem solved. Society better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
That kind of goes back to like, you know, the nature that like, you know, the police come knock on your door because your radio's on a little too loud. You know what I'm talking about? It's like,
yeah.
It's like, wait, what? Like, who called? Like, oh, your neighbor. Like, I was like, what happened? You know, and maybe again, this comes back to the world that I grew up in.
Yeah.
You know, before this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like back in the day when your neighbor was making too much noise, you kind of just went over there and be like, hey, Bob. Like, I know you guys sound like you're having a great time, but I got to get some sleep tonight. You guys mind if you maybe just close the windows and turn the radio down a little bit? And Bob's like, hey, man, no, I'm sorry, man, but we're having a party. You want some food before you go back home?
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Saying like that's the kind of neighborhoods like people had.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it was a different time, but
it was.
But
right. It goes back to rule 1 sometimes, though. If you walk around like this, you ain't gonna go up to your neighbor and say, hey, Bob, can you turn that radio down a little bit? I really got to get some sleep. My kids are sleeping. Like,
again, all these rules kind of bleed into each other. Same thing about rule 3, right? Make friends with people who want the best for you. Make neighbors with people who want the best for you.
Yeah,
like,
talk to your neighbors.
You know? And that's just people who sit there and watch from a distance and criticize, right? Like, oh, I'm going to call the cops on this guy. Like, is that necessary? Like, how hard is it? That's your neighbor.
Yeah.
Number one, if he's your neighbor, why don't you have his phone number?
Yeah.
Kind of strange. Number
and that's
two,
the thing too. Like,
that's a neighbor, like, why don't you know who that is? Why can't you ask them?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's the thing. I mean, like where I live, I know a few of my neighbors because I go outside and I stand outside. I look at the birds. I get in the sun, you know. But if I was never, and the only reason I know my neighbors is because I see them driving into their garage.
Yeah.
So everybody just comes home, drives in their garage, and walks in their house, and they stay in there. We never see each other anymore.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate and it's tough, but, you know, and even I heard this story about, I was in New York City or something like that or whatever, and in this apartment building, the lady was getting like raped and murdered, and all the neighbors were all like, oh yeah, I heard it. But I figured everybody hears it. Somebody's had to do something about it by now. Somebody had to have called 911, and every single neighbor all thought the same thing.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, you know, again, don't read this chapter in completely, like read it in its entirety.
Yeah.
This is kind of the point where he starts talking about order and chaos and like how, you know, the balance of things go, you know, and a big part of that whole thing, right? Even going back to rule number 5, right? About don't let your children do things that, you know, make you dislike them. It's like, hey, get your house in order. You know what I'm saying? Like, learn to be good within yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, get all of that taken care of, squared away before you get out there and start passing judgment on other people. It's kind of crazy.
And that's the thing. I like this one quote from this book. Was the thing he said about the hurricane in New Orleans.
That's right. Yeah.
And stuff. It's like when the hurricane hit New Orleans and the town sunk under waves, was that a natural disaster? The Dutch prepared their dikes for the worst storm in 10,000 years. Had New Orleans followed that example, no tragedy would have occurred. It's not that no one knew. The Flood Control Act of 1965 mandated that, and 40 years later, only 60% of the work had been done. It's like it took you 40 years to do 60% of the work. That's not even, yeah, I mean, that's just, I can't even fathom, like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, right? And if that had been done correctly, the tragedy could have been avoided.
No problem. And they knew about this in 1965.
Yeah.
And, like, dang. But that's the thing, like, we got to go back to, like, that old kind of tribal, you know, small village mentality. Like, you see this other human fucking being. That's Your opportunity to help. That's your opportunity to be a good neighbor. A good person.
But I mean, again, getting back to the rule, like, this comes from within, right? Yeah. How you carry yourself, what you hold within, what is inside your core is what's going to emanate outside of you, you know? And I think that this chapter closes for you. He asks some pretty tough questions.
Yeah.
You know, about yourself and about what it is you're doing. And like, when you read those questions, you're like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the questions? I'll read them out here. It's like, have you taken full advantage of the opportunities offered to you? Heavy question, dude.
That is.
Do you have habits that are destroying your health and well-being? You know what I'm saying?
Rule 1.
You know, are you truly shouldering your responsibilities? Like, you know what I'm saying? These are like tough questions.
Back to rule 2.
Have you said what you needed to say to your friends and family members? You know, are there things that you could do that you know you could do that would make things better for you? It's like,
better. Make things around you better.
Yeah. What? You know? Start to stop doing what you know is wrong. Like,
that's it right there.
It's like, dude, you know,
if you just did the last 2, you imagine what this world would be like? Your neighborhood would be like, your community would be like.
Right. And it's, again, you don't have to increase this by 110%. If you just increase by 1% a day.
Just 1.
You know, it's from within you. But like those questions, dude, like, and I told you about the time when I was going out asking millennials questions.
Yeah.
Similar to these. A lot of them don't know.
No.
A lot of them haven't even thought about it.
I bet you most adults wouldn't have answers for this that were adequate.
You know, I mean, there's a lot that do, right? There are a lot that do, but, you know, it's like, these are the tough questions of life. If you can figure this out, right? Change what's in here, resonate outward.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so again, great, amazing chapter. Takes a little bit of darkness, takes you there for half a second, bring it back out, coming from within.
Yes.
Amazing.